I'm Andy Ogles, Murray County Mayor. I'm here with UAW Chairman Mike Herron. Obviously today there's been, the UAW's been on strike and there's been a few folks arrested. And so I think what we want is everybody understand you have a right to do so. But what got my attention and why I'm here is that on the 16th, General Motors canceled folks' health care without notice. That's an unprecedented move and was wrong. I literally spoke to a man by the name of Dennis, who's on a transplant list, and now he's in limbo. You've got an employee who's pregnant, who is having complications with her pregnancy. She has nowhere to go. So I'm going to call on General Motors, Mary Barra, to work with the UAW and restore the benefits immediately. That was a low blow and was entirely unnecessary.
And again, my name is Mike Herron. I'm chairman of UAW 1853. And we're here today to talk about really a lot of issues. Primarily the health care that Mayor Ogles just described, big issue. Thank God for the UAW because we've been able to go ahead and have plans to go ahead and sign up our members for health care. However, that takes time and there's a gap in that process. This week, General Motors, without notice, ended up notifying no one, but they ended up cutting off the health care. And so we found out when our members started to go to the doctors, started to go for chemo treatments yesterday and today, and they were denied those treatments because of the lack of medical health care. We think that it's a wrong move. And while we've had labor issues before where we've had to negotiate contracts, those happen in a professional manner. We've got strikers out here that are trying to let the general public know that this is a struggle that we've got underway and that we're trying to get a good contract, which I'll get into the details of and things we're pursuing. But today, the primary purpose is to talk about the health care because suddenly when that health care was dropped, it put a lot of people in jeopardy. And I don't think that we've ever had that happen before in the last 50 years in negotiations. So it took on a whole brand new meaning when the health care was dropped. We have people, as Mayor Ogles said, that are waiting on organ transplants. We have folks that are going in for chemotherapy. We've got pregnant mothers that are expecting kids or they're in the process of delivering babies, and to all of a sudden go from 1 minute having health care to the next minute with no notification not having health care has been absolutely unacceptable.
Well, and I don't know, what the UAW is asking for or what the holdup is on the other side. That's not why I'm here. This healthcare benefit, that's scary business. When you're talking about children, mothers expecting babies, again, that's an unprecedented move by the company. They need to get back to the table, negotiate with good intent on both sides, but the benefits need to be restored.
Okay, and one of the other things I'd like to say is there's been a lot of questions about really what are the contractual issues that we're hung up in. And we're really fighting for the workers. We've got temporary workers that have been with us for 3 years or more, and they want a permanent job, or at least a pathway to become permanent. These folks do a fantastic job every single day, and I know that this is not unique to General Motors. The UAW, here is fighting to make these folks permanent throughout, not only at Spring Hill, but also throughout the nation. We have businesses all throughout this area. Automotive manufacturers that employ a high number of temporaries. These workers want permanent jobs. They want to be treated like permanent employees of those locations. And so this isn't just a fight for our plant. This is a fight for all of you that are in temporary positions today. The other thing that I would like to say is I was in Washington, D.C. in 2009 when the automotive bridge loan occurred. The American public did a fantastic job of making sure that there was an automotive bridge loan that allowed General Motors to reorganize. Undoubtedly, it was the right thing to do and will go down as a very good investment by the American people. The intent, though, there was to go ahead and not only give General Motors an opportunity to reorganize and to become profitable, the intent there was to bring jobs to America, have lots of investment in this country, and at no time did anyone ever envision 5 plants being closed in this country while there was plants being built in Mexico. We want jobs in this country. We'd like to see the product come back to this country, and we'd like to go ahead and grow the workforce in America. I'm very thankful to Mayor Ogles for his stance on the health care. He's been here by my side all day long, and while he doesn't know the content of the contract process, he's here for the sole purpose of making sure that the health care gets restored and that our workers get taken care of. And I'm very thankful to you, Mayor, for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Take any questions you might have.
Yeah, can one of you or both of you talk about the arrests?
Yeah, there was our workers are very passionate about making sure that that cars don't get built in that plant during this time frame. And we had some folks that ended up going ahead and getting arrested. I can tell you that I talked to the sheriff. I've talked to the Mayor Ogles, obviously, as well as the mayors of the surrounding area and the police chiefs. Nobody wants to go ahead and see anybody get arrested. Their primary goal is safety. We don't want to see anybody get hurt during this process. And you can see our strikers out here. They're waving at people. They're happy to be here. They just want to go ahead and see if they can get support for our cause. I can tell you that the general public has been outstanding. We've had people that have just stopped by and offered their help. We've had businesses that have stopped by and offered food and drinks. And we're very, very thankful for the community and their support. Some of the folks that ended up going ahead and getting arrested today, they were in an area where the police, I guess, asked them multiple times to go ahead and get out of the roadway, and they were fearful of them getting hurt. So they ended up going ahead and taking them away for their own good, I guess.
Well, and even though that, my primary concern is the healthcare, Mike and I, we've been traveling around to all the gates together with law enforcement, reminding people to stay back. If you're asked to move, please do so. Because at the end of the day, these men and women in uniform, they're hardworking folks.
Yeah.
They don't want to take anybody to jail. So if you're asked to move, please move. And I know tensions are high, and I know there's a lot of folks from other plants that have been moved down here, and you feel like this is a double gut punch. But listen, these men in blue, these men and women in tan, they're just doing their job as well. So if you're asked to move, please move. Let's keep this peaceful. Let's be respectful for one another. Look, Mike and I aren't going to agree on everything, but we can certainly work together as we have been all day long.
Yeah.
So, questions?
How many people were arrested this morning?
We believe the number to be somewhere between 7 and 9. And I want to tell you again, the police have done a fantastic job. They've been supportive of us. They've been supportive of our efforts. They have met with us. We met in advance of this strike action just to let the police know what the different polling places were in which we were going to be out with signs. Whether it be Murray County, whether it be Spring Hill, the sheriff, the local police, they have all been phenomenal. They have worked with us, and they've tried to make sure that the right things occur. And for that, I appreciate them and salute them for their efforts.
When the people were arrested, were they trying to keep staff from going into the plant?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them. I think that it was a combination of trucks that were trying to get in, and I think that was the primary deal. Fearful that trucks were going to be getting in.
And these are big vehicles moving through tight spaces. And again, the law enforcement, at the end of the day, they're going to have to clear the road. And so, any other questions?
Yes. In regard to the health insurance,
Yes.
I understand that you all thought you were going to
That's correct. And that's a great question. We did think we had until October 1st. We thought we had time for a transition period, and we never expected that health care to be summarily cut off with no notification. And so that's part of the problem here, because it was like, now you're cut off and you've got to immediately go into a process of trying to get everybody on a healthcare program so that healthcare is life and death. I mean, it's one thing to negotiate about cars, it's in jobs and different things like that. It's another thing to go ahead and have somebody lose their health care that desperately needs it and whose life depends on it. And so we think that was going a little bit too far.
And typically, if you leave a job, your insurance runs to the end of the month. So it's logical to assume that it's the 18th. They have at least until the last day of the month, which would have allowed whether the members or the union itself to pick up those premiums. It could have been seamless. And that's the thing, is that this was avoidable. This was a low blow. And look, I'm as conservative as they come, but I'll call a spade when I see it. And this was wrong.
So do you feel like this was less about, hey, you're not working, you don't get the benefits, and more like spiteful? Is that how you feel?
Well, it definitely upped the ante. I mean, it definitely took a different, because we've been in several situations like this before in the past, and never has the health care been cut. So this is a new practice.
Again, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Yeah.
You and I can disagree. He and I can disagree. but we can still be respectful. And at the end
That's
of the
right.
day, everybody wants to get back to work. GM, they want to make money. These guys want to get paid. These ladies want to get paid. But doing this, again, my focus is the healthcare. That was entirely wrong.
I know that things are early with figuring out the union provided
Yes.
health insurance. For folks who, let's say, do need to get treatments today, tomorrow, Monday.
What's that
Yeah,
process?
so that process is they go to the union hall, and there's a sign-up process for the health care benefits today and tomorrow. And so we've pulled that ahead, and we've got a plan to get them benefits because as quickly as possible, because we don't want anybody. We had 3 members that had chemotherapy this morning. They're not going to go ahead and wait until someone signs them up for health care in a couple weeks. We don't expect them to. So we've taken a fast approach to this to try to get everybody on a health care program.
And he,
That was my question. Will it be
Yeah.
retroactive?
Yes, it'll be retroactive to the 16th when it was cut.
You said it up to ante. What do you mean by it up to ante?
Well, I mean, anytime that there's an escalation in that nature, I mean, like Andy said, right is right and wrong is wrong. When we have had orderly collective bargaining before, what happens is you go to the bargaining table, you have a list of demands. You work through those demands with the company. The company has a list of their demands that they would like met as well. So it's a process of give and take. And ultimately, you come out with a collective bargaining agreement that is a good collective bargaining agreement for the next 4 years. And that's what's been done. But never before has there been a situation where you've had a issue like this where healthcare has just disappeared without notification in the middle of the day. And that's what occurred here. No pre-notification. Our members had no notification. It was just gone like that.
How will this change or influence in negotiations?
I think that the national parties they're working right now around the clock to try to get a good agreement. And as Andy and I have talked about, that's what we're hoping continues to occur. We hope that that the national parties at the national level that are negotiating this national agreement, they continue to go ahead and work. And I know both parties are back in good faith negotiating that agreement.
That's right. And at the end of the day, that's above both of our pay grade, right?
Yeah.
But again, this healthcare issue needs to be resolved quickly. And again, that should be first order of business for the CEO to figure out a way to get these benefits restored, allow them to fast track premiums or whatever has to be done. But if there's not any further questions, just want to say thank you. Yes, sir.
Can you address, you had said you talked to the police chiefs and the sheriffs around.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about what you've talked to them about and going forward, how they intend to try to keep the arrest part of this from happening again?
Right. Well, when I came out here earlier, the tensions were building, and again, this is an emotional deal. I mean, when you're talking about families and healthcare and obviously wages and paychecks, I mean, it's going to be an excited environment, right? And so Mike and I have been working again to de-escalate that. And so part of that is talking to the workers, but also talking to the police. Let's figuring out what's the process by which they can protest or strike peacefully, and then but also be in compliance with the law. And
Right.
how are you going to handle this? And I just want to give kudos to the sheriff and the police chief.
Absolutely.
They've worked with me. They've been very gracious with me and with Mike
Absolutely.
of letting us serve as intermediaries. Because again, I don't want to see anyone else in handcuffs. That's not the narrative. That's not the picture that I want people to see. What I want people to understand is that you have a mom who's pregnant and having complications that doesn't have health care. That's the issue. And so every time someone gets arrested, that's a distraction.
That's right. It takes us off really what our message is, which is let's restore these health care benefits, let's get a good agreement, and let's get back to work.
I don't believe it's point here, so forgive me. But I guess you said, was it a peaceful arrest, so to speak, or were they being aggressive being in the road?
No, they weren't being aggressive. They were just trying to go ahead and make a point that it's important that General Motors respect the workers. And that's really what it comes down to. It wasn't an aggressive or anything like that. It was just a matter of we're going to go ahead and make a point that it's important that we're going to go ahead and appeal that, hey, we need our health care benefits back. We need to go ahead and get an agreement. We need to get back to work. And it wasn't anything.
And I think to your point, if law enforcement gets to the point where they need to ask you to move, it's time to move. And at the end of and if you don't, they are going to ask you again. And if you don't, they're going to put you in cuffs and they're going to move you. And I stand with the law enforcement
Absolutely.
in making sure that not only the parties that are striking are safe, but the drivers are safe, the bystanders are safe. So if you're asked to move, please move.
And,
No
and
more
our,
handcuffs.
our workers absolutely respect the law enforcement officials, and they've been driving by here honking and giving a thumbs up, and they've been supporting the workforce. This is not about us versus them at all. They're going to go ahead and follow direction.
In fact, it was law enforcement that was driving Mike and I around trying
Yeah.
to de-escalate each of the gates.
That's a
so
fact.
again, we've been a partner in this. So you've got county mayor, you've got local and county law enforcement, you've got the UAW.
Yeah.
Look, we don't want anybody injured. And at the end of the
That's
day,
the
that's
key.
what we're talking about. No one needs to get hurt in this process.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
We
you all
appreciate you
very
guys.
Thanks, buddy.